with a plan.
Stay with CNN, America's campaign headquarters.
It's Tuesday, February 29th, 2000. Tonight on CNN Newsstand. It may not be super, but it's been a very good Tuesday for George W. Bush.
This campaign is winning, and we're doing it the right way.
The latest results, plus why the voters decided the way they did. Another classroom tragedy.
It's just unreal that children have to go through something like this.
A school shooting in Michigan, and this time in the first grade.
There may have been some sort of scuffle on the playground the day before the shooting between this little boy and this little girl.
The heartbreaking search for what went wrong.
How is Philip Morris?
Leaving the power, the money, the corporate world for this.
Gregory, is that yours?
He's part of the trend.
What can be more important than preparing the youth of our nation to take over?
And so is she.
Every August, you get to start all over again. And I never got to do that in business.
Tonight, the new kind of exchange program, a career for a classroom. CNN Newsstand with anchor Stephen Frazier and Natalie Allen in Atlanta.
Good evening and welcome to Newsstand. Governor George W. Bush has one convincing win under his belt tonight.
And he is hoping for more before the evening is over.
Bush already has won Virginia's Republican primary, still to come tonight. Results from a GOP caucus in North Dakota and a primary in the state of Washington. The Democrats also held a primary there, but no convention delegates were at stake in that one.
For the latest results, we go to Wolf Blitzer, who's coordinating our election coverage from the CNN Bureau in Washington. Wolf.
Thanks, Natalie. Stephen, Governor George W. Bush captured all 56 of Virginia's convention delegates, coasting to victory in the state's winner-take-all primary. Here are the latest numbers. In the raw vote, with 99% of the vote now in, George W. Bush captured 53% of those who voted in Virginia today. John McCain, 44%. Alan Keyes getting 3%. Let's take a look at how that translates into the delegate count, the all-important delegate count at this particular moment. George W. Bush has received, with Virginia, 187 Republican delegates. John McCain, 95. Steve Forbes, who dropped out, has 2. 1,034 are needed to capture the Republican nomination. Governor Bush is already trying to capitalize on his victory in Virginia, using the news to whip up enthusiasm in states that will vote in next week's crucial Super Tuesday primaries. Just before the Bush entourage took off on a flight to Atlanta, CNN senior political correspondent Candy Crowley filed this report from a campaign stop in Cincinnati, Ohio.
Bush was in Columbus when he first got news that the exit polls were looking very good for him in Virginia. By the time he got to Cincinnati, the polls were closed, and he knew he had won it. The first thing he said to the crowd in Cincinnati was, "I've got some good news from the Commonwealth of Virginia."
Tonight, the people of that state spoke. Tonight, the people of that state sent a signal. We are one step closer to getting rid of Clinton Gore in Washington, D.C.
Bush went on to say, in not so subtle relationship to John McCain, "We are uniting our party without compromising our principle. We are expanding our base without destroying our foundation."
The voters of Virginia rejected the politics of pitting one religion against another. This campaign is winning, and we're doing it the right way.
He also went on to score McCain on what Bush believes is a non-existent education policy, saying, "In my judgment, a candidate with no plan for schools has no plan for America's future." Also talked a bit about his tax plan, noting the similarity between John McCain's tax plan and Al Gore's, noting that if the two of them got into a debate over the tax plan, they wouldn't sound like opponents, they would sound like a ticket. A very upbeat George Bush, who badly needed this win in Virginia after a really rough week. They believe this will help set him off on March 7th and give him some momentum. There are, of course, 2 other races. Bush had to leave Ohio before knowing the results of neither of those.
John McCain, for the most part, is publicly writing off Virginia, saying it only proves George Bush can win in conservative southern states. The Arizona senator kept his eye on the bigger Super Tuesday prize today as he stumped in California, where he plans to spend much of the coming week. McCain may be heading into murky waters as GOP primaries in states like California and New York restrict or ban voting by non-Republicans from whom McCain has drawn support. But he says Super Tuesday will give him the edge by drawing on a cross-section of voters.
We've got 1 week from the day, my friends, 1 week from the day, and we're going to carry this state. 1 week from this evening, we're going to be celebrating one of the greatest victories in American political history, my friends.
To get a feel for the significance of the Virginia results, let's go to CNN's senior political analyst Bill Schneider in Los Angeles. Bill, the strategy that John McCain had in going after Pat Robertson, Jerry Falwell on the Christian conservative right, that strategy, at least in Virginia, doesn't seem to have paid off.
Well, McCain clearly took a gamble. He knew that the religious right vote in Virginia is a lot smaller than it is in South Carolina. So here was the idea. Attack Pat Robertson and Jerry Falwell. You'll lose votes with the religious right, but maybe you'll gain a lot more with the much larger constituency that is not affiliated with the religious right. Maybe that'll work in New York and California, but in Virginia today, only the first part of that prediction came true. Let's compare what happened in South Carolina 10 days ago and in Virginia today. First, look at religious right voters in the two primaries. Bush got 2/3 of the religious right vote in South Carolina. But in Virginia today, Bush's vote shot up over 80%. McCain got shut out, predictably. But what happened among non-religious right voters where McCain might have expected to pick up some support? The answer is nothing. McCain carried non-religious right voters by a narrow margin, just the same as he did in South Carolina. But he did not make any gains in Virginia. Wolf?
All right, Bill, stand by. I want to bring in our senior analyst, Jeff Greenfield. He's also in Los Angeles. He's been taking a look at the results in Virginia. And what do these results mean to you, Jeff?
Well, they mean that George Bush does very well in southern states, which is not a really big surprise. They don't mean much to me in terms of next Tuesday because the voters in the Republican primary have shown a remarkable indifference to what has happened before. New Hampshire didn't listen to Iowa, South Carolina didn't listen to New Hampshire, Michigan didn't listen to South Carolina, so here we are again. The question that we can answer a lot better in about a week is, did John McCain's frontal assault on the religious right, which he did in Virginia, but he wasn't aiming at Virginia, have an impact on Republicans in New York and California, Ohio, Maryland, where we think at least, with some reason, they are less conservative, in many of those states, many more Catholics. That's the 64... What's the number right now? The $64,100,000 question with inflation. And we don't know yet.
All right. And Bill Schneider, you've been looking at the really critical delegate count down the road. This is going to make or break the Republican nomination. What do you see at this stage looking ahead?
What we see looking ahead is big trouble for John McCain because in a lot of those big states, they're winner-take-all or winner by congressional district, and Bush is ahead even now in California, Ohio, New York, according to the latest polls, and California in particular awards all of its delegates according to the vote of registered Republicans, and there George Bush has about a 20-point lead over John McCain. From now on, the game isn't about momentum, if it ever really was. The game is about delegate counts, and there Bush has a very powerful advantage because not only do you have states with closed primaries where Democrats and independents can't cross over to vote for McCain, but even in states like Ohio where you have open primaries, there's going to be a real Democratic contest, so fewer Democrats are going to be tempted to cross over and vote in the Republican ballot.
And Wolf, let me just offer you one number that illustrates Bill's point. I know he's the numbers guy, but what the heck. Take California, winner take all. Take Texas, where it's in effect winner take all for George Bush. Take Florida, where Jeb Bush, the governor's brother, is also the governor. Those three states add up to roughly 360 delegates, and Bush is very likely to get just about all of them. You only need 1,034 to win, and the point about this is Bush can, in effect, tie McCain in a lot of other states, can come in second and get 40% of the delegates or 42% of the delegates in a place like New York. Those three huge Sun Belt states, combined with a respectable showing elsewhere, it's just very difficult to see how McCain gets more delegates, and I hate to be, kind of simplistic, but that is how you get nominated, unless he blows this ship up next Tuesday by winning in states where Bush is now ahead.
So, Bill Schneider, if in fact March 7th, Super Tuesday, a week from today, is the critical day, as everybody seems to be increasingly believing, including John McCain himself, who says we should know by March 7th who the Republican nominee is going to be. What is the strategy that McCain has to pursue in these coming 7 days?
Well, look, there is no way he's going to get this nomination unless he cracks open the vote of Republicans. He has never done that. He's never done that in any state, not even in Michigan, where he carried into victory by independents and Democrats, or in New Hampshire. You cannot get the Republican nomination without getting the votes of Republicans. It just can't happen. And there are just too many states where only registered Republicans can vote. Some of them are independents, but nevertheless, they register as Republicans. If you don't show strength among the Republican base vote, you're not going to be nominated. There's one thing he can do, and this he's trying to do right now. He can say to Republicans, look, the reason you initially rallied behind George Bush is that you wanted to win. You thought you had a winner. He was the new face of the Republican Party. Well, look at the polls. He's not a winner. Right now, Al Gore, he's really neck and neck with Al Gore, and in some crucial states like California, Al Gore is beating George W. Bush by 13 points. If you want to win, don't nominate George Bush, McCain has to say. He's a loser. You're going to have to go with me.
But very quickly, I'm skeptical about how many voters there are who vote tactically. I still think it comes down to voters choosing the person they like best. And if John McCain cannot convince base core Republicans that they should vote for him because they like him and his ideas, the tactical argument, I think, will fail, no matter how powerful it is.
Yeah. Initially, the tactical argument might have worked because that's why they supported Bush. They didn't know much about him. He wasn't a hero to conservatives. But what's happened is, because they dislike McCain, he's become a hero to conservatives, and that changes everything.
All right, Bill Schneider and Jeff Greenfield, our analysts, thanks for joining us. John McCain has made campaign finance reform a centerpiece of his campaign. No matter where you stand on the issue, you'll want to stay tuned to meet a 90-year-old grandmother who's just done something extraordinary to draw attention to the cause. I'll be back at midnight with a wrap-up of today's primaries. And if you just can't wait, you'll find the results plus reaction and the exit polls on our website, cnn.com/election2000. I'm Wolf Blitzer in Washington. Stephen Frazier and Natalie Allen will be right back with more of NewsStand.
Up next, a single shot rings out in a classroom. Another school tragedy. Also ahead, heartbreaking pictures from a national disaster. A country in anguish. When NewsStand returns.
CNN's coverage of Election 2000 is brought to you by Payne Weber. Thank you, Payne Weber. And by Chrysler, engineered to be great cars.
I've known this guy 5 minutes. He's already giving me investment advice.
For a recommendation on your portfolio, please press 3.
I'm gonna pay for this. What was I
Should
thinking?
my 401k be all stocks?
Should my 401k be all cash?
Why didn't they write this last month?
My portfolio should be overweighted in game companies. God.
Why does this guy think what works for him? It's gonna work for me.
Thank you, Payne Weber.
Smooth multi-valve V6, plenty of room, and exceptional styling.
After you.
No, after you.
No, I insist.
Please.
Sebring Coupe, Sebring Convertible. Either one is a very nice alternative to the other. Now, get $1,000 cash allowance on Sebring Coupe and Convertible.
Need cash to pay bills? Apply for a home equity line of credit from Ditech.com. With the equity in your home and your good credit, you can get the cash you need without writing a check.
And you won't have to make a single payment until 2001.
Can your bank, credit union, or mortgage broker do that? Probably not.
Log on to Ditech.com today or call 1-800-71-FIXED for your home equity line of credit with no payments until 2001.
Welcome back. We are talking to the man who discovered 10-10-220. Now, Professor, did you ever dream it would be such a tremendous hit?
I never had a moment's doubt. After all, a 20-minute call for only 99 cents. Think of it.
Yeah. At my house, we dialed 10-10-220. We get all our calls up to 20 minutes for only 99 cents.
and just 7 cents a minute after that.
With great rates like that, there's gotta be a monthly fee.
Never!
It's like a dream come true.
I never could have done it without him.
Dial 1010-220.
Remember when service was the standard and things were delivered? Well, USA Today still delivers. 5 days a week to your office and your home. Northeast, west, or south, and just about anywhere in between. One simple call brings USA Today to you, wherever that may be. Get 1 month free when you subscribe for 2 months. That's 3 for the price of 2, only $26. Pick up the phone and tell us where. We'll handle the delivery.
As we reported in our headlines, it was a first grader who police say shot and killed a classmate today near Flint, Michigan. The gun was reported stolen 2 months ago, and police say the only bullet loaded into it struck the little girl in the neck. This may have followed a quarrel on the playground yesterday, said a prosecutor, who also says the shooter is too young to be charged with any criminal offense. No other students were hurt. More from Detroit Bureau Chief Ed Garston's Reporter's Notebook.
We were in the process of shooting a light, tongue-in-cheek story on how people spend their time and money on this extra day leap day when we got the call. We're on the freeway. We immediately turned around and headed back up north towards Flint. We finally arrived on the school scene, and all you can see was people's shoulders just sagging, their heads down, looking at the ground, once again hugging each other, a few tears here and there. The local police chief insisted that the little girl was in critical condition at the hospital, when in fact we learned later, very sadly, that she had died only about 9 minutes after the shooting occurred. Schools are supposed to be a sanctuary, and how many more of these school shootings can society and the country take? And it seems to be getting younger and younger. It's one of those things, you don't have to be a parent to feel this way. You see crime tape around a school. You want to see a spring break stuff around a school. You want to see decorations. You want to see something about President's Day.
We heard a big old boom shot. Boom.
It's just unreal that children have to go through something like this. It's bad enough that they got, school to deal with and peer pressure, to have to worry about, going to school and possibly being shot.
How do you let a 6-year-old child have a weapon at all, let alone bring a weapon to school? And how did the child get the weapon into school? And what could drive a 6-year-old to shoot somebody? What could be so terrible?
It would appear from the investigation so far that there may have been some sort of scuffle or quarrel on the playground the day before the shooting between this little boy and this little girl.
You think back, well, maybe we used to duke it out on the playground, or we'd flip odds or evens to see who'd win the argument. But to get to this point is almost unbelievable. This is kind of a working class neighborhood, kind of run down. It's just a community that needs a break and didn't get one. And really, you come full circle. You think to that story on Leap Day that we were supposed to be covering today, and you think, an extra day. This is one day you wish it was the year that this day didn't happen.
And now we take you to Mozambique, where entire families can be found clinging to trees and rooftops. Massive flooding in the South African nation has left 200 people dead, thousands of more stranded, and hundreds of thousands homeless. Their rescue is an endless job for the handful of helicopter crews available. Mark Austin with this first-hand account of that extraordinary effort.
As soon as day breaks here, South African rescue crews are risking their lives to save others. In the rapidly rising floodwaters, we came across 4 boys aged between 5 and 12, clinging desperately to the roof of a car now almost completely submerged. There is only one way to save them, by winch. The downdraft from the helicopter threatens to blow the boys into the water. They cannot swim, and they cling to each other for their lives. The rescuer grabs hold of one of the boys and, realizing the others could lose their grip, he beckons them towards him. Eventually, he emerges with all 4 boys. It is all he can do to hold on to them. He screams that one is falling. Everybody in the helicopter scrambles to pull the boys to safety. This is how these rescue teams are saving lives hour after hour in the floodwaters of Mozambique. The gratitude is clear, but the boys say the rest of their family remain stranded. The truth is, however, that thousands of families are stranded, and moments later our helicopter hovers dangerously over the roof of an almost submerged house. They're hauled in through both doors of the helicopter. Some of the people appear too frightened to move, so one of the crew has to climb onto the roof to persuade them. It was an operation that took maybe 10 minutes, but eventually they cleared the roof. On almost every house and in many of the trees, people were begging to be rescued. The tree this old man was clinging to was almost lost beneath the water. The priority here is the frail, the old, and the children. Relief workers flying in the rescue planes cannot believe the extent of the flooding or the suffering.
The last trip we had a baby who was 1 month old, just barely making it. It's incredible, but we're doing everything we can.
And it is the children who are in most danger, yeah?
The children are absolutely terrified, and they only have people to hang on to in order to survive at this point. We're finding people who are in very high water and who have to get out now.
But with only 5 rescue helicopters and so many people to be rescued, it is almost certain more will die here. And with every passing hour, more villages succumb to the floods.
Well, after 3 weeks, help is beginning to arrive from the international community. Today, Pentagon officials said 2 planes loaded with tents, blankets, and other relief supplies are on their way to the African continent. The U.S. is also sending a team of experts to assess the need for more help.
Still ahead, living proof that a midlife career change doesn't have to be a bad thing.
I think having been a soldier made me a much better teacher.
Lessons in life when NewsStand continues.
I will never let good interfere with great.
I will do more than what's expected.
I will not always have the solution, but I will always find it.
Я работаю в банке JP Morgan.
I work for JP Morgan. I work for JP Morgan.
Manicure, $15. Lace skirt, $85. Vintage evening bag, $60. Look on old boyfriend's face at the reunion, priceless. There are some things money can't buy. For everything else, there's MasterCard. Accepted all over, even beauty salons.
There are over 800,000 job openings
for internet specialists right now.
3 million more in the next 5 years. By the time I'm 18. By the time I'm 18, over 1 billion jobs will require internet skills.
Are you ready? Are you ready?
Virtually all internet traffic travels across the systems of one company, the same one sponsoring thousands of networking academies. Cisco Systems, empowering the internet generation.
We ready? Are you?
Natrovent reinvents the nasal decongestant spray. Ordinary sprays need preservatives to stop germs from contaminating solutions. Only Natrovent has the unique MicroPure pump with an advanced filtration system to help keep germs out. No preservatives to invade your delicate nasal passages. One spray delivers a precise dose of preservative-free decongestant for fast, long-lasting relief. New Natrovent. Precisely what you need, nothing more. Saline mist also available.
We interrupt this program for an important news break. MCI Now offers 5 cents a minute every day, so you can call every evening and all weekend long. Bugs?
This is big news.
Bright bucks, just 5 cents. Mere change.
Change is good.
To sign up, just punch in 1-800 every day.
If I punch. Ow. Man, what a ham.
Call 1-800 every day to join.
Results are now in from North Dakota's Republican caucuses, and it is another convincing win for George W. Bush. With 73% of the precincts reporting, Bush has 76% of the vote to John McCain's 19%. 19 convention delegates are at stake in North Dakota. As we reported tonight, George Bush has already won the Virginia primary. The polls are still open in Washington State. Another 30 minutes to vote there. We'll keep you posted. Now to Stephen.
Cool digs now, our look at executive workspaces. This week, a boss whose name will be familiar even if you've never looked into any of his company's products. He has let our cameras look into his office, so see if you can guess who works here. Carved double doors open to this office, a female form holding up this lamp. Then the long trek across a patterned carpet to this seating area. The boss collects antiques, and the office is where they are showcased. That's Los Angeles out the window. To the desk, 18th century English, leather chairs before it for guests, no chair behind it. On the desktop, few personal items, few hints what this executive's business is. Clues are in the furniture and the paintings and sculpture. The boss says that what he does, unlike this painting, is not art. His company's products are distributed around the world now, including Asia, source of these carved Chinese lions. It's an empire with annual revenues of $100 million. A far cry from the poverty of his youth back east, where his family lived in the Kentucky hills on an annual income of only $600. A far cry, too, from his first storefront office in Ohio. No wonder he rode west. Also, no wonder he celebrates the liberty of life in the United States. He's a First Amendment crusader and a believer in justice, too. There she is, blind justice with her scales. Out the window, the Hollywood sign is visible. They made a movie about the boss, a good one, about his life before he came to La La Land. The actor who played him was nominated for an Oscar. Here's another vision, a casino planned but not yet built. It's, like an aviation company already running, an example of how diverse this executive's ventures have become. Unlike his business alliances, though, personal relationships have been complicated. He's been married 5 times. So who's the collector rolling in all this luxury? The answer when we come back.
How long does it take to turn Dodge Durango from the sport utility with the most passenger room in its class into the one with the most cargo room? Not long enough. Dodge Durango. Different.
Natrovent reinvents the nasal decongestant spray. Ordinary sprays need preservatives to stop germs from contaminating solutions. Only Natrovent has the unique MicroPure pump with an advanced filtration system to help keep germs out. No preservatives to invade your delicate nasal passages. One spray delivers a precise dose of preservative-free decongestant for fast, long-lasting relief. New Natrovent. Precisely what you need, nothing more. Saline mist also available.
CNN and the Los Angeles Times present an Election 2000 debate series with the Democrats Wednesday and the Republicans Thursday at 9 Eastern only on CNN.
Now is the time we can all do something for our community. It's Census 2000. By filling it out, you ensure that our community gets heard. Answers to Census 2000 help determine where roads should go and whether new schools are needed. This information is used to plan for health care centers and programs for seniors and so much more. When your form arrives in March, please participate. Your answers are protected by law. Census 2000. This is your future. Don't leave it blank.
The best show on television is on TNT 5 nights a week. ER.
Step on it, people.
All hands on deck. Let's move.
Red, tag him to trauma.
ER TNT, 5 nights a week. See it every weeknight at 7 Pacific, only on TNT.
ER is brought to you in part by Northwest Ford Dealers, home of the best-selling cars and trucks in America.
The Moneyline News Hour, weeknight 6:30 Eastern on CNN.
So who is the executive with a taste for French provincial furniture and an eye for the female form? He's Larry Flynt, whose publishing empire was launched with Hustler magazine, at the time the most outrageous pornographic title on most newsstands. Now, though, not all his publications are adult material. Others cover everything from skateboarding to boats to fashion for African-American men. After winning a landmark obscenity trial in Cincinnati in 1977, Flynt was paralyzed in an assassination attempt, and clearance for his wheelchair is one reason his office is so roomy. Another is that he pays no rent. He owns this entire building in Los Angeles. Surprised he can afford all that? As we told you, his company's revenue is $135 million, but here's the news. It's a growth rate of 35%.
Well, more and more people are trading their plush, fancy offices for something different, a chalkboard in a classroom. And they don't consider it a step down, rather a chance to share a lifetime of experience with a new generation. NewsStand's Bruce Burkhart went to learn more.
Right over there on the other side, you can see a T-52. That really brings back memories. Because
Ed Coet used to work around these tanks. An Army officer, Ed was a dedicated soldier for 21 years. Now, he works here.
Diane, what is the summary?
My office was right over there. We were in Building 4.
Rachel Moss used to work at this office complex, and others like it, every day for 21 years. Now, she works here.
This is my right hand, I raise it up high. This is my left hand, I reach to the sky.
Rachel and Ed are members of a small club. Only about 1% of the nation's 2.7 million teachers are career switchers, people who've given up higher pay and status to take on the often thankless job of teaching. And yet, their numbers are growing.
We find that people from other careers and who've done other things with their lives besides go to school really bring a lot to the classroom.
Emily Feistreiser is the president of the National Center for Education Information, a Washington, D.C. think tank. The center just released a detailed report examining the impact of non-traditional or alternative teachers on the educational system.
People from other careers coming into teaching, they think education is important. They want to contribute. And then there's the simple maturity factor. That's a big, big asset for teaching today's kids.
I think having been a soldier made me a much better teacher.
Drafted during the Vietnam War, Ed worked his way up to the rank of major. As a military intelligence officer, much of his career was spent here at Fort Hood in Texas. But he always dreamed of teaching. So when he retired in 1994, he became a special education teacher. Even his battlefield experience hadn't prepared him for that.
My introduction into the teaching world was having students, curse at me with expletives that I hadn't even heard. Getting scratched, getting kicked, spit on sometimes, stuff thrown at you. And, before I was a field grade officer where people were saluting me and calling me sir.
But Ed stuck with it. Now he handles students with behavioral problems at the Middle Level Learning Center in Killeen, Texas. The tough kids face a strict environment of metal detectors and pat-downs. We were not allowed to show any of the kids' faces on TV. Ed's military style works well here.
Class, stand. Listen to the class motto. I am, I can, I will.
He's raised the test score of his kids, who now outperform even the students in regular classes. And the kids are crazy about him.
I can share, I can care, I can care. Cease.
He cares about the kids, and he always thinks about us all the time. That's what makes him a really good teacher.
You'd be surprised. The kids want you to be tough. Teachers should be tough. I don't think a lot of them are tough enough, but you got to care. My students, are, say, an average of 14 years old. The law says you're an adult when you're 18. That's 4 years. That's not much time. That's how much time we got to prepare them, and in some cases, even save them.
While Ed gave up the salutes, Rachel Moss gave up travel and business lunches.
I have always wanted to teach. Ever since I was about 7 years old, I wanted to be a teacher. My daddy had said that there was not any money in education, and he was not going to help me pay for my degree unless I got it in business.
So Rachel went into the insurance business, handling accounts as a marketing rep. She commuted 50 miles to her job each day until corporate downsizing hit her division.
When they finally reorganized the job I had been doing, they gave it a higher job class, and I didn't get it once they raised the job class.
Rather than take a demotion, Rachel traded in her briefcase for Play-Doh and crayons. Now in her 5th year of teaching, she works at the Hickory Flats Elementary School in Georgia. Rachel believes she's found her calling, though it hasn't been easy.
What was the biggest single adjustment you had to make when you first started doing teaching?
Financial.
Really?
That was the hardest thing, because I was used to having a good check every 2 weeks. I took a substantial cut when I started teaching. Oh, yes. About a $15,000 a year cut.
That's what I did.
Gregory, is that yours? There are times when I just say, oh, what am I going to do with this child or this situation? But it goes away. And one of the really great things is that every August you get to start all over again. And I never got to do that in business. I can't think of any reason why I would go back to the corporate world.
The fact is, most career switchers are happier in the classroom and needed there. We've all seen the headlines recently. There's a teacher shortage in many states. According to some estimates, the country will need 2 million additional teachers over the next 10 years. With a booming economy attracting so many young people to more profitable occupations, career switchers could help fill the gap. Emily Feistreiser believes in time they could become a third of the teaching force and bring some needed diversity to the classroom.
80% of the teaching force is female, and about 90% of the teaching force is white. It's the mid-career changers that are bringing non-whites and are bringing more males and older people into the profession.
You teach patriotism?
Every chance I get. I loved being a soldier when I was a soldier. I'll always cherish my service, but it was time for me to move on to something else. You know, what can be more important than preparing the youth of our nation to take over? So you have that same sense of importance. The only problem with it is it seems like nobody else sees it.
I don't think people understand the impact that teachers have on the world. I don't know if it's just because they don't like to think about it or just because they don't know.
Well, just last week, the University of California at Berkeley announced it is expanding a program that trains people who want to exchange their careers for the classroom. And the urge to change goes the other way, too. A recent poll of college and university professors found that by middle age, 2 in 5 are thinking seriously about giving up teaching for something else.
They could work on Wall Street, but it'll take a lot of resilience for that. The market showed another ride today. We'll have the numbers in a minute. Also, why most people still prefer the paper chase instead of paying bills online.
Let's see, college in 4 years, costs up 40% over the next 5. Somebody do the math here.
It'd be great if our money would grow as fast as these kids. I can't believe
Will paying for college be as painful as this? It's getting ugly.
Hey, that kid just dropped a pretzel? Because I like pretzels. I really like
We'll be able to help with their
I
education.
wonder if we should have put that money in a trust. Maybe we would have...
I hope she was kidding about college in Hawaii.
Thank you, Payne Weber.
Chrysler Concorde, 4-wheel independent suspension, and a powerful V6.
I didn't know Davis could move like that. I told him to think of himself as something powerful and agile. Wonder what he was thinking.
Now get $1,000 cash allowance on the Chrysler Concorde.
The great thing about outboard motors is how they turn effortlessly. Imagine if we put them on a 142,000-ton ship. We did. ABB. Brain power.
Every part of your business can now benefit from the Internet. Microsoft Windows 2000 was built for the Internet. The business Internet starts with Microsoft.
Thinking about your financial future? Who better to put your trust? Top tier in U.S. life insurance and growing fast. A major provider of annuities, investments, group and retirement planning. Managing more than $26 billion in assets while earning some of the industry's highest financial ratings. Jefferson Pilot Financial, helping you write the story of your life.
Well, both the Dow and the NewsStand had the same idea today.
Yeah, they both decided to head north. Stuart Varney has our Moneyline update from New York City.
Good evening. Another big day on Wall Street. Technology stocks led the charge, and the blue-chip Dow Industrials benefited from some further bargain hunting at the last week's selling. Now, the Nasdaq Composite rocketed an amazing 118 points to close at 46.96. That's a rise of more than 2.5%, and it was led by Broadcom. More modest gains for the Dow Industrials. That index rose 89 points, closing at 10,128. As for the 30-year Treasury bond, it rose nearly 3/4 of a point, the yield down to 6.13%. Despite ever-growing internet mania, most Americans still approach the daunting task of paying bills the old-fashioned way. But as Kitty Pilgrim reports, paying your bills can be as easy as a mouse click away.
More than 20 billion bills are issued each year in America. And most billers are still in the habit of delivering the bad news the old-fashioned way, via the U.S. Post Office. But online bill payment is rising in popularity as more and more banks are jumping on the internet bandwagon. In fact, the number of web banking households is expected to grow to more than 26 million by 2003, to a quarter of all U.S. banking households.
It saves a great deal of time. I mean, the average consumer can spend up to an hour a month paying their bills. With HomeLink and online bill payment, you can pay 10, 15, 20 bills in a matter of a few minutes. You don't need stamps. You don't have to go to the post office. You can just do it all online. So it's really a convenience factor for consumers.
If your bank doesn't offer an online billing service, you can choose from a number of companies that will pay your bills electronically, including Yahoo, E-Trade, Statusfactory.com, PayTrust, and PayMyBills.com. E-billing firms, along with banks, may charge as much as $9 a month. But according to Jupiter Communications, the average U.S. household spends more than $15 a month on stamps and checks. Potential online bill payers should make sure they don't become too removed from the bill-paying process.
People who pay their bills online tend to be once more removed from contact with their money. They don't have the eye-to-eye contact with their money. So it's even more important for those people to make sure they know what their balance is and that things are up to date.
AltFest also points out that the internet is a good tool for paying down debt because it keeps people organized. That's Your Money, Kitty Pilgrim, CNN Financial News, New York.
Earnings should affect Tiffany's stock when it reports tomorrow. Another stock on the move should be Mirage Resorts. The casino operator said a buyout offer from MGM Grand was inadequate. And oil stocks, they may be affected by Bill Richardson heading to Capitol Hill to discuss U.S. policy towards OPEC. That's it for the Moneyline update. For a complete look at the day's business news, catch Moneyline weeknights at 6:30 Eastern here on CNN. Now back to Stephen and Natalie in Atlanta.
All right, Stuart, just ahead on NewsStand, from your cell phone to your Palm Pilot, our old gadgets are going even more high-tech.
We'll go on the road to the Wireless 2000 convention. Straight ahead.
Moneyline Updates is brought to you by Williams. Energy
communications, leadership.
Honey, this is one of the largest trading floors in the country.
World.
Right. Williams trades every type of energy.
It's also moving energy through Williams Pipeline.
Good point. They watch weather, news, wars to manage energy risk.
To stabilize energy prices.
Okay. But do you know that their trading floor is protected by trained attack weasels?
Yeah, I knew that.
I made that up. You can't train a weasel for security. I made it up.
I'm hungry. Let's go.
Why do you hurt me?
Remember when cell phones were for talking? That's passé. Now you can use them to surf the net and even find the lowest prices for things. Amazon.com CEO Jeff Bezos predicted today that within a decade, all his customers will access his virtual bookstore using cell phones. Rick Lockridge is at the Wireless 2000 convention in New Orleans where Bezos spoke. Rick has all the hot new gadgets in tonight's Technofile.
From a guy's point of view, the problem with comparison shopping is twofold. There's the comparisons, then there's the shopping. It's too much legwork, but we all love a good deal. So how fortunate it is that technology sometimes rewards the lazy. Arm yourself with the Pocket Bargain Finder system by Anderson Consulting, and you can scan your way to savings.
What you can do is just point it at a barcode, any barcode in any store. It reads it, and it sends it off to the internet.
The mini browser on your palm-sized PDA compares the prices at up to a dozen retailers for you. On this bestseller, we would have done more than $5 better at alldirect.com than on the highest price site. And when we wanted to buy the latest book from Telechef Emerald Lagasse,
It's $16.50, and it's in stock.
the service, which is free, also works on cell phones. You just punch in the barcode instead of scanning it in. Scanner hardware can run you up to $400, but it's so much more fun to just zap a thing and let your PDA go find out how much you should pay for it. Instant messaging, so popular online, is coming to cell phones.
I have a message here from one of my colleagues. It was a great day at the show yesterday, and so he sent me a message wanting to know if I wanted to go out.
Text messaging is already very popular among cell phone users overseas because it's cheaper than talk time. You can start a buddy list now using @mobile.com. Or if you're a fan of AOL's AIM, you'll be able to get that soon on certain Motorola phones and two-way pages.
The goal is that if you're an AOL member or if you're an AIM user, you'll be able to use the exact same screen name that people are already accustomed to finding you with on a pager or on a cell phone.
Now here's something for all those people who refuse to turn off their cell phones in restaurants. A $20 pen that blinks when your phone is about to ring. It has business uses too.
This exists for people who, in boardroom meetings or in a loud environment where they can't hear their phones going off, it just works very well.
So if you're out too late with your buddies one night in the French Quarter here in New Orleans and the pen goes off and you know there's an angry spouse on the other end of this, well, you can just use the pen to keep on writing an apology and use your phone to speed dial the 24-hour florist. And that's Technofile.
Up next, she's just made her point, coast to coast.
I hope and pray that I'm able to make an impression on our Congress.
Going the extra mile to get politicians' attention when NewsStand returns.
We can see all our production schedules on one calendar.
We can share a document internally and with the client.
Now groups can compare schedules.
Post documents.
Collaborate.
Communicate.
Anytime, anywhere.
Through your own private space on the web.
Your intranets.com site. It's easy. It's free.
Go to intranets.com.
And set up your secure site.
Intranets.com.
Get everyone on the same page.
For free. Forever.
Kilago, alone on Kilago, how empty it seems with only my dreams.
Introducing the 3.2 CL from Acura.
Hey, buddy, you looking for a job? Brother,
Well, you came to the right place. I got hot jobs, cool jobs, jobs that are absolute monsters. Just go and take your pick. You got me? Come on, right this way.
Tired of internet job sites that lead you nowhere? Log on to kforce.com with over 2,000 recruiting specialists whose only job is to get you the job. kforce.com. Opportunity has a new address.
Bringing you the world for 20 years. This is CNN.
I was asked, because there was fighting going on in southern Iraq, to go into southern Iraq with cameraman Tyrone Edwards and see if we couldn't get some pictures of this insurrection that was in essence going on.
All the journalists say they'd taken a calculated risk to get to the story in Basra, expecting that the Iraqis would turn them back towards Kuwait.
Suddenly found ourselves surrounded by Iraqi troops with machine guns. They took us into custody. They put machine guns to our heads. They told us to sit in a ditch, which at that point in time, I had decided they're just going to kill us here. And in essence held us for 5 days in a 4-room, no electricity, no heat, no water kind of environment, and gave us peas and hard bread to eat. The most terrifying thing about that wasn't anything that they did to us. It was more of the mental anguish that one goes through of not knowing from second to second whether or not you're going to be alive a minute from now or 5 minutes from now.
CNN's correspondent Greg Lamont and cameraman Tyrone Edwards were greeted by anxious colleagues when they arrived in Amman after being released by Iraqi soldiers who captured them near the city of Basra.
It is an experience I'll never forget. It's not one I want to relive. It made me have a greater relationship with higher authorities. And I think it also made me appreciate life a little more and the fact that it is so fleeting.
CNN 20 is brought to you by Sir Speedy. For outstanding printing, copying, and digital services, call Sir Speedy.
It's time for the world to go to work. A brochure is emailed to Sir Speedy for printing, a manual for electronic copying, a report for output. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, people down the street, across the country, and around the world use the internet to do business with the Sir Speedy Global Digital Network. If hundreds of thousands of businesses trust Sir Speedy, chances are we can handle your documents. Call Sir Speedy, the Printing Copying Digital Network.
Live to be 90, and many of us would settle for a rocker in a quiet corner, perhaps, but not this lady. She's long been a political activist, and now at 80, she hopes to rock Washington into changing how politicians raise campaign dollars. In the process, she's raised a few eyebrows and no doubt a few calluses, as we hear from Jonathan Aiken.
Go, Granny, go! Go, Granny, go!
There are 1,400 steps in a mile, give or take. Doris Haddock has counted many of them.
Her name is Granny D, and she would like to see a government.
For over a year, 425 days actually, she's been on a mission, bringing the issue of campaign finance reform to the country in a most personal way.
I want my 12 great-grandchildren to be brought up in a democracy.
Her son Jim thought something else entirely when she decided to make this journey.
When your mother says, I'm going to walk across the country if you got any brains at all, you say, well, yeah, but...
She set out New Year's Day, 1999, from Pasadena, California, enduring the heat of the Mojave Desert, which left her dehydrated and hospitalized. As she walked, she found she was often her own best company.
I recited poetry to myself. I thought about my friends.
Granny D covered 10 miles a day, close to 3,200 miles in all, through 11 states, relying on the kindness of friends and strangers.
If they couldn't put me up themselves, they found a motel and paid for my way there. Or many motels have given me free board and room, too.
She went through 4 hats, 4 pairs of sneakers, missed a birthday, and learned the hard way just how big America really is.
When I got into Texas, and it took me 4 months to get across it, it was pretty much a surprise.
In the course of her travels, Granny D picked up a slew of new friends and a band of supporters who followed her progress on a website or through interviews with local reporters. This one was done in Texas. She attracted attention to a dry issue by attracting attention to herself. And it worked. Bill Bradley noticed her in New Hampshire. John McCain gave her a pair of sneakers. In return, she gave him a horde of reporters. Granny's had a lot of attention lately. A Japanese TV crew followed her as she approached Washington. Nearby at the Iwo Jima Memorial, she posed with a group of Korean tourists. Turns out they were city councilmen from the city of Chuan. They had no idea who she was.
Granny for president.
Granny reached the end of the road Tuesday.
Thank you so much for all of you coming to welcome me into Washington, D.C.
Joined by family, friends, and a group of supporters, some of them mustered by a coalition of political groups advocating campaign finance reform. When she reached the Capitol steps, there was no time to rest and one more task to accomplish: lobby for passage of the McCain-Feingold campaign finance reform bill. It's what she came for.
Shame on you, senators and congressmen, who have turned this headquarters of a great and self-governing people into a body house.
Not everyone she was talking about will miss Granny D.
I wish her well. I'm glad she was able to make it. But let me suggest that maybe she could do more for her children and her grandchildren and future generations if she deal with issues that really affect people's lives every day.
Granny D's done walking, but says she'll stick around this issue for a while.
And I'll be apprehensive until I find out how it has gone, whether or not I've made a difference or this has been the fool's errand.
Jonathan Aiken, CNN Newsstand.
Granny D. And speaking of politics, join Wolf Blitzer in 1 hour from now for more of CNN's Election 2000 coverage. That's at midnight Eastern.
Sports Tonight is coming up next.
And here's Fred Hickman from the CNN Sports Illustrated newsroom with the preview. Fred.
Natalie, Steve, thank you. It is the game of the year in the NBA. The LA Lakers and Portland Trail Blazers doing battle in Los Angeles. We'll have the highlights. Former Duke standout Elton Brand guarantees that Raptors forward and North Carolina graduate Vince Carter will not score 51 against the Bulls. We'll see. Two of the most expressive faces in college basketball contort. Gene Katie's Purdue Boilermakers take on Bob Knight's Indiana Hoosiers. The World of Oz goes north of the border for number 24 tonight, and the Braves go to sensitivity training, minus John Rocker. We'll have it all on Sports Tonight coming up next. Natalie, Steve.
See you then, Fred. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Newsstand won't be here tomorrow night, but be sure to join us for an Election 2000 special.
It's another chance to hear from the candidates themselves. CNN and the LA Times will sponsor a Democratic debate beginning at 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 o'clock on the West Coast. And Thursday night, the Republican presidential candidates face off in another CNN LA Times debate. This one also begins 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 Pacific.
That's all from us tonight. I'm Stephen Frazier.
I'm Natalie Allen. Thanks for joining us, and good night from the Newsstand.
Get the world and business news you need to get a jump on your day. Ahead of the Curve. Weekday mornings from 5 to 7 Eastern on CNN.
Far above the Arctic Circle, a team of scientists went in search of an ancient giant. On March 12th, the discovery is unveiled. Think big and watch with the world. Raising the Mammoth, a global primetime premiere, Sunday, March 12th at 8 Eastern and Pacific, only on the Discovery Channel.
I love pay-per-view, but I love it even more on AT&T Digital Cable. Why? Because digital gives me so much more to choose from, and it's easier than ever. Watch. I use the on-screen guide to find exactly what I want to watch when I want to watch it, and it's so easy to order. All I have to do is press the OK button on my remote control. And with built-in parental control, your little Einsteins can't watch what you don't